Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Three Questions with Andrew. I am so excited for our guest today. We are in a very special place to me and a special place to Houston. I would like to introduce you to Johnathan, the beverage manager here at the Four Seasons Houston. Welcome, Johnathan. Thanks for being with me.
Definitely, thank you.
Awesome. Well, I am looking forward to this. Bandisa has been, I would say, one of the accounts that initially brought us in that for me felt like a check and a signature of, man, we've got something here. Like, I know the standards that you all maintain here, and I was like, this was really, really cool. And still to this day, when someone comes in from out of town and they're like, oh, like, where can I try cut above? Like, first words out of my mouth, you got to go to Bandisa. One, because you can have any kind of great cocktail, alcohol or not. And so thanks for all the work you do here.
Of course, yeah. A happy partner. Yeah. What you guys do is amazing. So.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to jump right in, right? 3 questions. And the first question is, if you could just tell us a little bit about you, how you got to where you're at here in the industry, some things that kind of keep you motivated to manage and do all the amazing things you do here at the Four Seasons.
So my journey started in college. I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. I thought that was going to be my future in my life. The more I moved through school, started having to work student teaching shifts, which transitioned me into a night shift. So I started waiting tables. Fell in love with waiting tables and what the hospitality industry just like presented. And as I moved through school, realized that teaching wasn't really going to be what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And by that point, I was bartending and just fell in love with it more and more. Every day was just something new. And it was at a Logan's Roadhouse. It was nowhere fancy. It was like very lowbrow. But again, just magical time. Started working at a beer bar, like after a couple years at Logan's, and they had 40 beers on tap. And that was, to me, the coolest thing in the world, where I knew where it was made, the yeast strand. Like, I was a beer geek at that time. I had no idea. I thought that would be like the pinnacle of bartending. My brother told me of Anvil here in Houston. Right. I was in Beaumont at the time. He told me of Anvil. I went in to visit, and that experience changed my life. I had a tea punch, and I thought I was a rum fiend until I had the tea punch there. Hal Brock served it to me, and I'm like, what is in this? And he was just like, it's rum. And I'm like, no, I know what rum tastes like, Fred. Like, this isn't rum. I did not believe him until he poured it just straight from the bottle, and I tried it, and I'm like, what is in that? And he's like, it's rum. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know anything. And then he jokingly was like, well, you should move to Houston and work with us. Nice. And then a year later, I moved to Houston and walked in and applied, and they were like, oh, I was just joking. Like, you actually don't know anything about beverage at all. I was like, I can study. And sure enough, that's what I did. I studied for 2 months, practiced everything. I asked for like equipment from them, which they let me borrow.
Oh, wow.
Very sweet. So I'd wake up every day and just shake ice until it turned into a slushie, and like practice stirring so that I wouldn't be laughed out of the bar. Went in and did a stage after the 2 months of like training, and got offered the job. And from that point on, just sort of constantly kept growing in the industry and understanding a bit more about it. And that bar really teaches you how to become a balanced professional in terms of like running or owning your own bar eventually. After a few years there, moved to Chicago, fell in love with that city. But after 2 years, started missing home. Came back and worked at Anvil again. And then after the second 2 years there, it was sort of what is Johnathan doing for his future? So took the leap into Beverage Manager, and then it slowly moved my way up into independent restaurants, and then wanted a bit of corporate structure. So came to the Four Seasons, because it was also a thing of Chicago, like some of my favorite bars are in hotels. And it's a thing. Up there, it's like, oh, hotel bars are synonymous with quality. And in Houston, I didn't feel that was the case as much. So I was like, I don't know the last time I've been inside of a hotel in Houston. And I was like, I want to change that. To where when I first started here, I would say I work at the Four Seasons, and people were like, where is that? I was like, it's downtown. And they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, I didn't know before I started here either. I was like, but again, I'm trying to change that like mentality just in general in the city. And so it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's awesome.
Really enjoying it.
I say, like, Anvil, again, one of my favorite bars all time. it's almost like this little like graduate school. Like so many Anvil alum have gone on to do one amazing things here in town, but just even outside of town. So I think we're lucky to have Bobby in that spot here, cranking out good.
It felt like
good
a college,
people. Yeah,
of sorts, and then we all graduate to go do our own.
Yeah, and I also love that. I mean, there's something to be said for like I can study, like to learn. Like I mean, I think any level behind the bar, what I call the wet side of the bar, any level, like you have to have that curiosity, I think, and you have to have like, if I don't know it, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna learn it. That's awesome to hear that.
And that takes yourself doing it. I had a guy in here that we tried to get him to. I ask him every day, where is the Sazerac from? How was it created? Where was it made? After 3 months, he still couldn't answer that question. And I gave him like 2 classic cocktail history books as well. It's just like, here's Imbibe by Dave Wondrick, just read it. And he's just like, okay. 2 months later, he still hadn't read it. And I was just like, you're in one of the coolest spots in the city, and you can't even like invest in yourself that much. Maybe this isn't a fit for you. And like eventually we had to like part ways with him because of it. But it was a sad thing because it's like, you would expect someone just to be driven if they got the opportunity, but he just never delivered.
And I think that's right true of all industries, but I think particularly the hospitality industry, probably places that aren't like this, but in places that are, people will encourage you. Like if you miss something, like, and there's so many resources, whether hey, my experience, or come early for the shift, like let's work on this, or hey, like you tell someone to like correct things and not taking it personally and be like, okay, cool, like I can do, I don't know, there's a nurturing environment in the cocktail bar, specific area of hospitality that I've seen and encountered, that to me, I think I've never seen it in any other sort of industry like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Like even like creating cocktail menus, it's always better as a team. It's like I'll present something even and they're like, Johnathan, it needs XYZ, and I'm like, cool, yeah. I was picking that up, but I didn't know if it was just me. So it's just like, it's always better as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Let's roll into question number 2.
Okay.
And so this one, if you have some breaking news or news to share, you can. But I want to talk about when you get to an establishment at the level this is at, in terms of, it's got a reputation, it's got, a very cool experience, visiting here, Bandista in particular, but I think across the venues here on the property, the level of hospitality is going to be, some of the best that you can find. And when it comes to having non-alcohol options, how have you seen that evolve from maybe a couple years ago to now, whether it's being part of a recognition program or receiving an award, or just when you internally kind of set standards for having those options as part of a program? Like, how have you seen that evolve over time, and talk about its importance now?
Yeah, actually I was having this conversation last night with someone. We were talking 5 years ago, favorite non-alcoholic drink of choice was a glass of soda water and maybe 2 dashes of bitters. Hopefully they had Fee Brothers so it could truly be non-alcoholic, and that was the extent of what you could get. Maybe a little orange juice mixed in there for some complexity. Versus now, it's again like, I can't tell you the last time I went to a cocktail bar and they didn't have a non-alcoholic option on the menu, or even a non-alcoholic beer at the bare minimum, which is huge. Even the Four Seasons on our corporate level, it's now mandated that we carry non-alcoholic offerings at every property.
Awesome.
But I do feel it's, again, inclusion with our guests is the biggest word I can think of. I actually just recently stopped drinking about a year ago.
Okay.
I'll still consume occasionally, you know, like when in Rome. I was in New York for a few weeks, and it's like, I'm gonna see these top cocktail bars in the country because experience and growth of just tasting and experiencing those flavors. But it's also nice somewhere Sip and Guzzle. I go there, and they had offerings on the menu that were non-alcoholic versions of the actual drink on the menu. So I still felt like I was a part of that environment, and I would want our guests to feel that same way here. So in Bayou and Bottle downstairs, we actually offer the same thing, where it's non-alcoholic versions of the drink on the menu. The garnish is the same, it looks the same, the guests can get this, they feel like they're part of it. In here, we do a bit more of like what we call our dealer's choice. So it's an ever evolving. You have a conversation with the bar team, and they work with the flavors that you're looking for. And that's where it's again having a wide array of different non-alcoholic options as the spiritless base builds on that complexity. So
I love that. And I think a couple of points you touched on. One, it's let's talk a little bit about kind of approaches to menus. One is, all right, we've got this menu of kind of maybe pre-established cocktails. Which of these can we do a one-for-one, right, sub out, like, kind of a design cut above to do? That makes it easy. And I can't tell how many times, and your team has definitely seen it, where the guest is like, okay, cool, I can have that non-alc, like, really? Like a lot of consumers still haven't experienced like quality non-alc cocktails. And so to me, that giving of that good feeling is a big kind of underlying motivator. Like, I love having people be able to do that because of our product. And then two, thinking about it beyond that, when you talked about like kind of the non-alcoholic options, I say like we're better than, I don't know, soda cranberry or whatever it used to be, right? Well, feels like I want to say decades ago, but it's probably still years ago. I don't know if we even hit decades yet. To now, like I can have a just like specific crafted non-alcoholic cocktail, and to your point, that can be flavored just as widely and with enough variety as everything else on the back bar, right, to put into it. And so that's, I don't know, that's really cool that here, just on one property, you've got those two different approaches and they both work, right?
Yeah, it's been a very cool thing. My sister's currently pregnant, and her favorite cocktail is Southside. So I was home last weekend and made her a non-alcoholic gimlet or Southside with the gin, and was just like, here you go. And she lit up and was just like, oh my God, like I didn't think I would be able to even taste this flavor again for another like 6 months. right. And here we are. So even people that are just abstaining for any different reason, it's just like giving them that chance and opportunity. It's just, I think that's what we're here for.
I agree. I totally agree. I have to turn to camera and say, Steve, shout out. You heard Sip and Guzzle mention. Told you I was going to sneak you in somehow, some of these. All right, so let's roll into question 3, and this one's totally different than our previous 2 questions. It's more lighthearted. It's kind of a grab bag you get to pick from. It can be favorite karaoke song, weird food combination, word you always mispronounce, anything that just helps us get to know you a little bit better.
I'm a massive geek. I have a sleeve of manga tattoos. So all the different favorite scenes from manga and anime from my life until now. Decided to do it a couple years ago. And was just like, this is my moment. I'm gonna.
Wait, so you've got almost a full sleeve from a couple of years? Like you're adding on a regular schedule?
It was all within like a 4-month period. I banged out the whole sleeve. Because it was, again, I loved these things since Dragon Ball Z in high school. Was watching that like on a daily basis. So it was just like, I have to get a Dragon Ball. So that one was definitely... I feel like in the suit, no one ever expects the sleeves, but it's also like, again, as soon as I take it off, they're like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. And wait, they're geeky tattoos? And it's like, So definitely, most people that actually know me know I'm a nerd, but if you didn't, then
I love it. And you wear your nerddom on your sleeves, right?
Quite literally.
Literally. All right, so obviously everyone who's going to visit you here, they're going to see you in the suit, but the little tattoo that peeks out and everybody knows what the rest of them are. So thanks for sharing that.
No, for sure,
and just thank you for being with me today. Thank you for agreeing to do this. A big part of this is just me getting to know you and those that are out in the hospitality industry, hearing your viewpoints and the experience that you have, both in general hospitality and in particular, right, the non-alc piece that we like to delve into. So thank you for here. Congratulations on all your success. Best wishes on all the continued success. I really appreciate it.
This is only the beginning. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnathan. Cool.